you've been thinking about moving to Portland, Maine, but not sure which neighborhood to choose?
Then this video is for you.
I'm Mike Weisman.
I'm Matt Dechaine.
And this video series is everything about living, working, and playing in the real Portland, Maine. So we are standing here overlooking the Portland Peninsula.
Yes.
So Matt, let's give someone an idea. They're coming to Portland. They want to know maybe where they should live. They're not sure about the lay of the city, lay of the land. What's the first thing that really should let someone know about Portland?
Yeah, so I mean, if you're going to move to Portland, there's really two major decisions you have to make. And do you want to be on Peninsula or do you want to be off Peninsula?
Okay.
And right here behind us is what's considered on Peninsula.
Uh-huh.
The easiest way to tell is if you're looking at a map, Mike,
Yep.
you watch the 295 highway,
Yep.
where it cuts Portland in half.
Right.
Everything on the ocean's Peninsula.
Okay.
Everything not is just mainland Portland.
Okay. So behind us here is Peninsula.
Yes.
Right. So if you had, again, now let's tell people that are watching out there, I'm moving to Portland. Why would I want to be on Peninsula?
Well, so the big pull of Portland, what makes it number one in all the magazines, you know, all the different competitions of the best city to live in, is what it offers right here in the metro part of Portland. On Peninsula, you can go carless. You can be at, 10 different bars, 15 different restaurants, 13 of which have won national awards, different grocery stores, food co-ops. I mean, the ferry, the train, everything within just a few minutes walk.
Right.
So if you're looking for Maine's version of that metropolitan living, it's all right here, which is nice.
Cool. So basically, what I'm hearing is if you're on Peninsula, you're never more than a minute or two from anything that's happening.
And a lot of every month, first Friday of the month, they have, it's called First Friday.
Right.
The Arts District, which is right down the middle here where all the high-rises are.
Okay.
They open up all the galleries. The streets have vendors and people. You can walk out your front door and be right in the middle of this cultural celebration.
Yeah.
You don't have to drive in and worry about parking a car. I mean, it's great.
So Matt, what I'd like to hear now, let's tell people now watching, if it's Peninsula sounds like the place they'd like to be, let's give them a rundown of the neighborhoods on Peninsula. Sound good?
Of course.
Okay.
So Portland, what's unique about it is even though it's one big city, it has all these neighborhoods that give each corner of Portland a very unique feel. And it's almost an identity. If you tell someone you're from Mangia Hill, they know exactly where you're from and what kind of person you could be. Mm-hmm. So it's interesting in that sense.
Okay, so Mangia Hill. So what part of the city is Mangia Hill?
Right here.
So tell me a little bit about Mangia Hill. Give me the 30-second overview of Mangia Hill. We'll do a video on each of these topics, so don't worry, that's coming, but let's just give them a quick overview of Mangia Hill. So
what's interesting about Mangia Hill and East End is it used to be the working class neighborhood of Portland. It was the gritty neighborhood. It was where you were more or less scared to go at night if you were alone and didn't know the area.
Okay, not anymore.
Not anymore. It's completely changed. The past 10 to 15 years, Mike, it is now one of the highest rated neighborhoods in the whole state with the highest property values.
Is that right?
You go out on the Eastern Promenade here, which is the last road that overlooks the ocean, and it's $1 million house after $1 million house.
Okay. So in general, though, when I'm in Mangia Hill, what kind of housing am I going to find? Let's say I'm not in that $1 million bracket.
Sure.
Maybe you are. If you are, you can call us. We'll take care of you. But if you're not, what kind of housing am I going to find in Mangia Hill?
A lot of it's condos right now.
Okay.
A lot of the bigger homes that you see, the big ones, the $1 million ones, have been split up. They were big captains' houses.
Right.
And they might have 3-4 condo units in it now. They've done a wonderful job making them modern while also keeping the classic appeal inside. Right. With the beautiful trim. And you'll find a lot of condos for sale. Otherwise, rentals in those condos is very appealing as well. Okay.
And could you put a broad price on that? Like a range from here to here for condos? What do we see condos?
So it's highly dependent on water views and obviously how luxurious it is.
Right.
I was just in one of the smaller condos here, about 500 square feet just down the road. And very beautiful condo, just rebuilt. It was listed for $250,000.
Okay.
If you go on the upper end of things and you want one of the nicer ones that's luxurious, you're pushing $1 million.
Okay. But again, so you have a nice broad range there. So you can get into Mangia Hill even on that lower end of that scale of things.
Of course.
Excellent. Okay. So we're still on the east side. So on the east side, what other neighborhoods now would come up next from Mangia Hill? What we talk about next?
Yeah, so moving west, you got two major neighborhoods that each fall on one side of Congress Street.
Okay.
Congress runs along the spine over here.
Congress runs east to west. Okay.
Yeah. So if you look off to this side here,
Right.
which would be Bat Cove, they call that, Bayside.
Okay.
That's an up-and-coming neighborhood, sort of like Mangia Hill was 10 years ago.
Okay.
It's wonderful. It's got all the breweries down there. Rising Tide, Lone Pine, Good Fire. I mean, the top list of breweries are all right here next to us.
Okay.
It's one of the most cost-effective areas in the city right now to be living,
Right.
only because it hasn't been as gentrified as the rest.
Okay.
Not that it's not safe.
Got it.
Definitely it has room for opportunity.
Okay, so that could be a place also if someone wanted to invest in property, wanted to sort of catch the beginning of that curve, say where can I still find value in Portland? Okay, that could be one of the areas. Right?
100%.
Okay, excellent. All right, what's our next area we're gonna?
So moving on the other side here,
Okay.
which is on the Casco Bay side.
Okay, right.
That one, we call that Old Port. If you know anything about Portland,
Right, that's what it's famous for, right?
that's what it's famous
Right,
for.
That's the nightlife. That's a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah.
A lot of activities, street performers, things of that nature. Right?
And most unique, which gives Portland its character, is that it's a working waterfront.
Right.
You go down there, I mean, there's lobstermen pulling the day's catching.
Right.
There's people, selling bait to the lobstermen. It's wonderful to see it, an active waterfront that also has this huge tourist attraction next to it. It's a wonderful dichotomy of a beautiful city along with the actual working class.
Right, which is really what makes living in a place like Portland, Maine really special, in that a lot of the cities now on the water, their waterfronts are very commercialized, right?
Right.
And you don't have that authenticity anymore. And you'll find that up and down the coast of Maine, and even here in Portland, our biggest city, where we've still worked to maintain, you still have that character of it being a working waterfront. I think that's really cool.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, I think it's the biggest pull, one of the biggest.
Right, now, as far as housing, is there housing in that area so much? What would be some people live in the Old Port area? What would you?
Yeah, so there's a lot of housing there. Again, it's a lot like Mangia Hill here in that there's a lot of condos
Right.
and a lot of rentals.
Okay.
You'll find that most of it's commercial space on the first floor.
Mhm.
So Portland has a lot of wonderful shops that are unique to this area, or all the bars and restaurants. And you get up on the second, third, fourth, fifth floor.
Right.
It's all apartments.
Right.
So it's that wonderful metropolitan living. You just want to make sure that you're going to take advantage of that because there's not always a place to park your car down there.
Okay, as parking could be an issue.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. So moving on the peninsula now, what's our next stop in the peninsula that we're talking about?
So afterwards, moving further along to the hospital, which is the highest building way on the end there.
Right.
That is considered the West End.
Okay.
It's the historic, old neighborhood of Portland, the old regal neighborhood.
Right. Right.
Wonderful captain's homes, historic homes,
Right.
quiet tree-lined streets. The hospital's there.
Right.
And on a beautiful day, you can actually see Mount Washington in New Hampshire
Wow.
overlooking from the West End.
Yeah,
over
which is
there.
pretty amazing, right?
Yeah.
Right. So there you're still going to find a lot of the original single-family homes, right? They haven't been condoized, if you will. You'll still find
Exactly.
them, and they're going to be, of course, priced accordingly. You're going to be up pushing seven figures in some of those houses, I would imagine.
Yeah.
$1 million range.
And like you said, that's where you find the single-family homes still intact.
Right.
The really congruent neighborhoods where everyone knows everyone.
Right.
You find that in the West End. It's a beautiful place to walk around and check out.
Yeah. Okay. Excellent. Okay. On the peninsula, where would we go next from there?
The last portion on Peninsula really is called Parkside.
Okay.
So the 295 dissects Portland.
Right.
And right next to it, right in the middle between the Back Bay and the Casco Bay is what you call Deering Oaks Park. I don't know if you've ever seen the movie The Preacher's Wife.
Okay.
They filmed a skating scene down there. There's a park that there's a pond that you can freeze over and skate in the winter. Deering Oaks is wonderful. It's a green space in the middle of the city. They have the farmers markets there. They have free concerts. There's a lot going on. And the neighborhood that borders it is called Parkside. It's actually, a fun fact, it was the densest block in Maine, population density.
Right.
And it's a nice little area. It's ultra convenient. You
Okay.
can walk to anything from there. And it's also one of the better valued neighborhoods in Portland at this point. So
Okay.
it's a great place to look to see if you're trying to
Okay.
get in here.
And again, would you say mostly condos, would you say? For the most part, condos?
Yeah, I think Parkside's got a bit of a mix.
Okay.
Not so many homes as you'd see in the West End.
Right.
A lot of condos and a lot of rentals.
Okay. And again, if you had to put a price range on that, someone's thinking about, is that area for me? Can I afford it? Very broad terms, what would the price range be?
$200 to $500 for a condo.
Okay.
So one of the more affordable sections of Portland.
Okay. Awesome. All right, so there you have a great overview of Peninsula and the neighborhoods on the Peninsula, what it's like to live. Hope that really helps you get that lay of the land. I want to come to Portland. Where do I start, right? We talked about Peninsula. Next, we're going to take you on a little tour of off Peninsula.
Yep.
Okay, let's go do that.